Good morning, CCSP. Today is Monday, March 8th, 2021, and it is a period 1 through 5 day. So much has happened this weekend. I hope you had a great one, but let's get to first things first. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wow, now let's get back to all of the events of this weekend. So, whew, Coming to America 2 came out Friday night. I didn't watch it until Saturday, but it was so good I watched it twice. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to see it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. You probably may not remember the first one, but go back and watch the first one and then watch the second one. It's a great thing. Um, Also, this was All-Star weekend for the All-Star basketball game. So I'm sure a lot of you were glued to your TVs last night watching all of the events that led up to the All-Star game. I hope your team won. I don't even know who won because I don't watch it. Um, Also, the interview with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was on. Oprah was interviewing Meghan and Harry. I watched a little bit of it. I couldn't take it. I was like, oh, no, not for me. I'll find out the tidbits as the week progresses, I'm sure. So, but let's get to the gossip in this story. So, the last time we were listening to this, we were talking about the project that the girls were doing and how they thought that their project was so much better than everyone else's. And maybe it is. They were trying not to be boastful, which is a good characteristic to not be boastful. Even if you do a good job at something, you don't have to gloat about it, make a big deal about it. When you do a good job, people will see it. So let's see what's going on with them now. They worked so closely together, no one remembered now who had thought of what and which part. Truly a group effort, Bluish said, sounding like Miss Baker. Tuli said, Chicka, you are so right on. Tuli made them laugh. Even Bluish laughed a little. It was a good first part of the day in school. Most everybody got the job done. All the boards were hung by the end of the morning. They had a reward party, cookies stored in the small fridge, punch they had made in class. Miss Baker took out sparkling pens that said peace or love. Every student got a pen. It caused an uproar. Can't have that right now during COVID, huh? Where we make the punch and the cookies. It'll be nice to get back to that, though. I bet you no other class got anything like them, kids kept saying. Miss Baker, you are the most, man. They sat around the Christmas tree. Some kids had brought little gifts to school, but nobody had to. They were taught in school that the best gifts were the ones they made for one another, like cards or little things you knit or drew. There wasn't any special time that you made things to give. You did it when you felt like it, as Bluish had. Miss Baker always said, a gift is a kindness of giving. They all sat around the tree with Miss Baker. Max, who helped her each day, told them about Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and Christmas. Kids knew about some of it. It was New York. They saw all kinds of people. They easily picked things up about one another. Max asked who had celebrated which holidays and even other ones. It's all right if you celebrate more than one or none, he said. We do Kwanzaa, Mary Beth Neal said. We do Christmas and Kwanzaa, Drini said. Paula said, my folks like Christmas because it's American. But my dad is from India. Our belief is Hinduism. Students raised their hands or spoke out. Tuli clutched her hands together really tight. Think something's going on with Tuli? Drini saw her. Come on, Tuli, she murmured. She knew what Tuli was thinking. Something like, I get nothing, so why celebrate anything? Tuli could go on for 15 minutes about what she never got, but she always got nice things. People saw to it. Tuli's aunt gave her holiday gifts. Tuli told her grandma Gia to remind her aunt every time. Her grandma Gia's church gave Tuli a coat every other year and dresses that her grandma Gia made with the help of some others of the missionary women. A nice coat, Drini thought. Not exactly the flashy kind that fit the way Tuli acted up, but a good, pretty one that fit her, not too long. Tuli did try hard, even when she got things wrong or didn't understand. But there was stuff she knew about, like people along Broadway. Given enough time, Drini was sure Tuli could learn the names of everybody in New York City someday. So what if she tries to be Spanish at times? Drini thought. Tuli wanted to be somebody. She wanted to be friends with everybody. Yeah, we all have that sometimes. We want to be popular. I remember my daughter was like that. She wanted to be friends with everybody. But sometimes that doesn't work out. Eating cookies just like sitting around, Drini felt relaxed. It was time. It had been her idea to surprise Bluish. All the kids went along, even Jamal, who could be the worst. Drini was to give the signal. Everything was quiet. Suddenly, Drini jumped up and gave the signal. She lifted her arms above her head and shook her fingers. Kids hollered, screeched. Hats on! Miss Baker called. She took from her smock pocket the hat that Bluish had made her, and she put it on. Students pulled hats from under sweaters, from the cupboard drawers, from wherever they'd hidden them, even when they didn't know what to. When they believed they looked stupid, in 2 seconds, they all had their hats on. Whee! Said Miss Baker. This room is a rainbow coalition. They laughed loudly at that. Wow, Drini said, looking around. The hats were many colors, with one or two stripes around. Look at us, Tuli said. Kids acted up, making faces in spite of themselves. They admired themselves in the mirror on the closet door. We're a field of flowers, Bluish said softly. We're all the same. We're different too. Now you all look just like me, she smiled faintly. They looked at one another, looked at her. Nobody disagreed. Nobody laughed. One kid, Matt Kittinger, they called him Manny the K, stood there in front of Bluish, looking dopey in his hat, but loving it. He grinned from ear to ear. He flapped his hand at Bluish, waving. Miss Baker had to smile. She patted Manny on his hat. It was black with orange stripes. Kids floated easily up to Bluish and circled her chair, touched her hand. She'd grab a hand or arm, but didn't hold on. They were careful not to get rowdy or rough. Why do you think they were careful not to get rowdy or rough with her? They're cool hats, aren't they, class? Max the aide said. They all agreed the hats were the flash. They went around admiring one another, the combinations of colors and stripes. This whole class is the rap, Dasan said. You like that? Drini asked him. He thought a moment and said, yeah, sure. Nobody else in the whole school has these hats. Bluish made us special, Drini said, and got a smile out of Bluish. It was then that Miss Baker said, Class, Natalie has something she wants to show you. Now, don't crowd her. Make a big half moon around her. Okay, that's good. When they had arranged themselves on the floor, Miss Baker handed Bluish something painted and square. Bluish had a sack of something to one side of her, and Miss Baker put it on her lap. Bluish hadn't brought her dog today. Bluish took up the square object and held it in both hands. It looked like a toy top. They all stared. Drini wondered what was going to happen. This is my mother's, Bluish said. It once belonged to her mother, my grandma Celia. She breathed and seemed to pull herself in. It's very old, maybe 100 years. Wow, a whole century, someone said. I think it's great they knew that was a century. Huh? It's called a dreidel, and children play a game with it in the evenings of Hanukkah holidays. You're going to teach us the game? Jeannie said. Dreidel, 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 Mary Beth sang. I know a dreidel song we learned in camp, but I forgot the words. They could hear Bluish humming for a moment. It was the same melody that Mary Beth had sung. Class, let Natalie show us the dreidel game. You play with peanuts or coins or sticks, but I only have enough peanuts for maybe 6 or 7 people. But everybody wanted to play. You'll have to take turns. Listen up, she said, and they listened as Bluish explained about the dreidel. It's a 4-sided top that you spin. Each side has a Hebrew letter. This letter, is called Nun. She turned the dreidel. This side is Gimel. This side is pronounced E, and the last is Shin. They laughed at the strange sounds of the words. Someone went, eh, eh, eh. Instantly, another kid went, shinny, shinny, shin. Class, don't make fun, Miss Baker said. They hushed. Bluish looked slightly upset, but their joking had given her time to catch her breath. Dreeny watched her face. She'd been lost in the give and take of the class, all of them around Bluish, listening. That couldn't have happened 2 weeks ago, she thought. Bluish continued. The letters mean more, like a miracle, but not in the game. The first 7 kids got 10 peanuts. Here, she motioned for Dreeny. Surprised, Dreeny held herself very calm as she took handfuls of peanuts from the bag and chose 7 kids to have them. They were all being quiet, interested. Now, each player put a peanut in the middle. That's the pot. They did. First player spin the dreidel. Bluish chose Thule. Like this? Thule asked. She didn't wait for an answer. She spun the dreidel top. They watched it spin, grinning at its whirl. Okay, when it stops, we want to see the face of the dreidel is up, Bluish said. The dreidel fell on its side. The letter A is up. Thule gets half of the pot, Bluish said. Why does she get half? Dasan wanted to know. Because Hey stands for half. Get it? What does none stand for? Dreeny asked. None stands for nicht, or nothing. And the player does nothing. Wow. Gimel stands for ganz, or all, Bluish told them. And the player who gets Gimel gets everything in the pot. Ooh, I want that one, Paula said. Others agreed. Bluish continued. Shin stands for Shatel, to put in. The one who gets Shin has to add 2 peanuts to the pot. Kids said. They don't want that one. When there's no peanuts in the pot, or only one, each player puts a peanut in. And that's how you do the game, Bluish said. When one person wins everything, the game is over. They played the game for a while. Everyone got to play. Shouts of, Shin, Shin, and I got Gimel, watch out. It was fun. When they had to stop, they all applauded. It was time to do their math. As they opened their books, Miss Baker told them other things about the dreidel. There's more to it than the game, she said. She moved about the room, ready to help them if they needed it, talking. What does the spinning dreidel remind you of? She asked. Earth, Dreeny said. I was going to say that, Mary Beth said. The sun, someone else said. That too, Miss Baker said. The dreidel shows us the changing of season as the sun shifts. Winter, spring, summer, fall, as the earth spins on its axis. Neat, Dreeny said, and smiled at Bluish. But Bluish had dozed off. She'd worn herself out. Class, Miss Baker said. She put a finger to her lip and spoke softly. Remember to bring your field trip permissions on Friday. Monday, we'll go to the Natural History Museum. It's our last field trip, and the last few days of school until your winter vacation. Christmas holidays, change of seasons, Drini thought. Will she still be bluish in the spring? Wish I knew more. She looks like she hasn't one hair on her whole skin. That's one thing. And sometimes she gives this look like she's going to scream, like she's really mad. Its proper name is the American Museum of Natural History, Bluish said. They looked at her. Hi, Drini said, startled to see Bluish was awake. You're back with us, Miss Baker said, smiling. Bluish had dozed only a few minutes. Going to see the dinosaurs. Yay! Some of the kids yelled, acting up. Class, we're going to see an exhibit very different from dinosaurs. Bluish muttered something. Perhaps she meant for Drini to hear her. Drini was close enough. It sounded like, I get to go too. Wow. Do you think Bluish may not get to go to a lot of things or participate in a lot of things? Let's tune in to see how this continues. CCSP, have a wonderful day of learning and teaching. See you Thursday.